Hello guys, Mathemos right here, also known as the Simmest Builder, and welcome to another speed build, this time actually in The Sims 2. Today we're going to be doing yet another futuristic build. The first one you might have already seen was done in The Sims 3, and that was like a 4-berth, no wait, it was a 2-berth, actually, I can't remember how many hours it actually was. It was, in terms of when I recorded that, it was so long ago because I basically have done all this in bulk. But this time I went for a more near-futuristic sort of thing, like something that could be achievable in about 5 to 6 years. So basically right now I'm just doing the basic shape, like how I do most of my houses, apart from like very specific builds. Here's a little fun fact that about 1/3 into this build, I looked at what I had done so far and I was like, this isn't good enough, and I just ended up changing the majority of the shape, which you'll see later. That middle pillar right there in the entrance initially wasn't going to stay. That was just there as a placeholder so I can actually place the roof when I was going to eventually get around to that, which is apparently now. So I'm just trying to create a roof, and as you can see I've just done that, and I think it looks really nice. And then I created a half wall afterwards to give a bit more depth to it, and I overall think it looks a lot nicer. As you can see, just doing that half wall now. Again, it looks very, very nice. Gives some extra pop to it. I actually learnt this from another sim builder, which you might have heard of, the Sim Supply. And yeah, and half walls are amazing bits of, you know, an important asset. I really like it. When I'm trying to choose a nice door, most of the doors I didn't like, so I just kind of chose lesser of two evil, which ended up being that door that I later turned into a more dark brown colour because they didn't have like a white colour. And like The Sims 4, you can't just manually recolor it. There's some presets, which is fine. It actually allowed me to try and think a little bit more on my feet. If there was something I was going to change, it would be the stairs. Those stairs I ended up settling with because I thought it looked best. But if I was going to do it again, I would choose stairs that I later actually discovered, which I ended up using for the walkway into the house. There we go, just kind of doing like a template floor. No, that ended up being the floor I chose for like about 90% of the house. 90-95% with very little of anything else. Now I'm just getting like the supply for the kitchen, like all the equipment, and I just couldn't, you know, immediately select the color I wanted, so I just ended up just dragging it and just doing it after the fact. And yeah, those were the cabinets I ended up using because I thought it looked modern, contemporary, and futuristic enough for what I wanted to do for the build. Now I'm just like adding basic chairs, and again I ended up going with those chairs because they looked the most modern out of everything. Adding some more windows to get, you know, allow some more natural light to make it seem bigger than it actually is, because this is essentially a one-person house. So, you know, make it look like it's a lot bigger than it actually is, and I've heard that windows are great for doing that. And I ended up using like the like a nice retro jukebox because I thought that looked the best. Ended up using like the Little Sisters personal computer. Can't remember what it's called, but again I chose that because I thought it was like the most cool looking. So I don't know if I do that now, if I start working on the bathroom. I am working on the bathroom apparently. So yeah, again I wanted it kind of rounded, so I tried to mess around with that on the side by the windows, so I was like, no, that's not gonna work. So I just left it as it is, and left it kind of rounded, but the facing right. I think it's, is it the right or left of the house? I think it's like the left actually. So there's a nice bath, because every good house should have one. A nice expensive toilet, a nice, very contemporary looking sink, and a basic white door, white wooden door, because I feel that's still going to be a very necessary feature for years to come. Again, very futuristic choice for the desk and chair. The chair is more or less for a kid's bedroom, but out of everything I thought it looked the coolest, and there's the computer I told you about. So yeah, adding a mini arcade, because this is a bachelor's house, like a relatively rich bachelor's house, so I ended up doing that. There's the games console, saving frequently, because this is like the second build I did in The Sims 2. I did another one, but which you won't see because it crashed while saving, so I've completely lost that lot. So I learnt my lesson and saved very frequently doing this build. I'm like experimenting with color. Ended up like going with white for the majority of it, because it seems to be what the trend is going to be in the future, where houses look white, which is fine. I don't mind. I think it's pretty good, honestly. And I've done that all around the house with a little half wall as well. Adding some chairs, which is kind of like little overhang thing, was more or less the inspiration for this specific build. But I kind of look what I had. I was like, that does not look right. So in a moment, there's like a brief interlude where I look for reference images again, because because ahead of time before doing this build, I looked at some, but I didn't like how this is coming out based on the kind of concept renders I saw. So see those blue flashes right there, just me flicking off and looking in Firefox. So I was like, okay, what could I do to make this more futuristic? The answer was to completely get rid of the loft, the porch area in front, and kind of doing another overhang area on the right hand side, which is like the observatory area. So there we go, just doing those walls. I'm doing like a slanted side wall, as in like a passageway between the main house and the observatory, and using like a half roof for the top, which I thought looked really good. So there we go, I'm just adding the walls, making sure that looks good. And there goes the loft, because I was like, that has to go. So that's what it did. It just went. It's no longer part of the build. It's no just like my animations, it just wasn't needed anymore. Which is like, my animations are very much needed, but it was like the first thing that came to my mind. That example, I can't remember what it was, but yeah, I was trying to look for some different windows for that. The triangles work as a picture, because I thought that looked relatively futuristic, but those windows that you saw for a moment, I was like, that does not gonna look good for an observatory. So that just went and continued using the windows I used for the rest of the house. The red you see right there is very temporary. I tried to give it a bit more color, but it just didn't look like orange, red and white. So I was like, okay, so the red's just gonna go back. So the red just went back to white, and the orange just becomes the secondary color of the build. Not sure why I did that. You probably could use that as like a compartment space if you wanted to, but I just can't delete that. It looks alright, but there we go. Now we're just kind of rearranging the front end. That's why I kind of moved everything around, so I could make things a lot more rounded on the ground floor, giving again that nice little floating look. So for better or for worse, that's what I ended up doing. So I just kind of deleted some of that and added a glass window, and then just recolored that kind of back part as orange, which again looks very nice. But I was having extreme difficulty for, you know, getting the foundation kind of the same roundedness, so I just tried it higher of a half wall, which didn't fix the immediate problem that there's basically 3 triangle holes in the interior, so that's that. Yeah, I feel like the half walls kind of made things look odd for the roof, so I'm gonna delete that any moment now, because I was like, yeah, that's basically just letting rain in, just asking for trouble. So I just first kind of cheated a little for the floor, well, for the roof, and I just kind of created another half roof and then have it at, I think, 21 degrees slant, which again I think looks really nice, but it just kind of clipped with the half wall, so I just did that. For better or for worse, that's what I did. And just doing the orange color where it was necessary, doing the white wherever it was necessary, and just kind of doing some other fix-up sort of thing. There we go. I think any moment now, no way I kind of, yeah, did like a stone on the inside thing, because I've noticed that was a common thing with images of futuristic houses. So green was like the upstairs, white for the downstairs, I think. It does look nice, it does look very contemporary. We're moving where the actual TV set is going to be. Nice massive one. And yeah, there's like me trying to fix the floor. And I like remember that there's this like slanted option, so I just kind of deleted, you know, that, and just, I don't know how it worked, but it did, and so I'm not going to complain, and it looks a lot better. I ended up just deciding like doing glass windows for the entirety of the front. It was, looking back at it, I am very happy I ended up doing that. It looks very good. So wood again, just wood for days. And I don't know what I was looking for exactly. I know one of the things I was looking for was a telescope. And it was like a musical instrument I was thinking, or, you know, another hobby. It was like a hobby area, but it was mainly an observatory. That's the top of the line telescope with the motors and so on and so forth. I ended up choosing a violin but I'm a classy person like that. I don't play the violin, but I was just like, you know, I can see someone in this house playing something so archaic. Let me just experimenting with lights. I like the lights I chose for the kitchen, but I was like, that was not going to be a common theme for the rest of the house, so I tried to do these using those plutonium bars, I think it is. But I was, at the end I was like, that's not providing enough light. So I ended up using these square lights for like most of the builds, along with the, you know, those wall lights. So yeah, along with some ground floor lights for the outside, which I think looked nice. Like a nice little entryway, it's like welcoming you into the house. And I also like another feature of The Sims 2 that I like, that I kind of wish The Sims 3 had. It's the fact that light on the inside actually, you know, shows light on the outside, despite, you know, there's no light on the outside to do it. So I was like, that looks very nice. I'm actually glad The Sims 2 has that realistic kind of lighting there. If there's light on the inside, it shines light on the outside of the house, and you can see it. That's pretty amazing. And I thought a bed. I wanted something, again, relatively futuristic, and that bed fit the bill. Having some, have a little fence area around the stairs, because health and safety is still very much a thing, especially in like 5 or 6 years time. That's going to be a heavy push. For some reason, those plutonium bars didn't light up when I duplicated that, so I was like, put it to night mode, add them, put it back to day mode, Bob's your uncle. Again, that I ended up choosing a kid's side night desk thing, because it looked the best for the bit what I was trying to do. It looked rounded and nice, and again, for like the rest of the build, especially when I wanted things over glass, I used the move objects cheat. So like for the smoke and burglar alarms, because that's a must-have in the 21st century. You're kind of daft if you don't get that in a modern house, but I don't know. Who am I to judge? Adding like nice glass kind of I forgot what they're called actually. But again, nice. They had like nice curves, very futuristic. The same with my wardrobe. And again, because it's 21st century, I imagine like the neighborhood would have like a centralized waste disposal thing. So that was just be a simple hat. So that's where that came from. And now I just add pictures around the house just to give some more life to it, to make it a lot more appealing. Again, move objects being my best friend. The corkscrew, I'm not sure if I end up using that, if I just thought that's too archaic for like the nature of the build. Although I noticed like I don't think I colored those that slanted wall when I created that. I think that's still the base kind of texture. So that's going to be fixed before that gets published. So technically this is already stuff I've already done. I'm just apart from a little few bug fixes I've noticed I haven't done, like housekeeping. Other than that, it's basically done. Like adding mirrors, and I tried using curtains, but it was just like, that was that. Didn't like it. And adding carpets. And on that note, we're gonna move on to the B-roll in just a moment. So thank you so much for watching this video. Sorry I had to cut off what I was saying, but timing and whatnot. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. Just adding like the plants now, and like the small utilities of the kitchen, which is a must-have in the 21st century. And anyway, I'll see you in the next video. Peace.